everybody. Welcome to the Gapology Guys, your leadership podcast where we discuss improving your leadership, identity, mindset, behaviors, and purpose. For more information on everything we discuss here, head on over to gapology.org, where you'll find links to our books, our courses, our blogs, and all sorts of other things. And let's go ahead and jump in here. So, Mark, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Brian?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't believe it, though.
What?
Oh my gosh. So, I think I need to move out to California. I can't take Kansas anymore. 2 days ago, it was 71 degrees here. 71. People were in shorts, walking around, windows down, tops down. Tonight, we're supposed to get a blizzard.
What?
Yeah, overnight tonight.
Wow.
It is just bizarre. This is, I think, the third one this year. It's been by
Yeah.
far the worst winter, in a long time here, but certainly since we've lived here.
Well, you're welcome out here. We have a spare bedroom, so
Okay. Okay. I'll bring Joe too.
yeah, that'll
Okay.
work.
That would be fun. It would be fun actually to see you guys. So it's been a little while. But let's jump in tonight. So we've got an interesting topic. It's one that whenever I teach this, this is one that people seem to either really get, really connect with, or they really struggle with. So I think this will be a good opportunity for you to sort of walk us through this. So this is going to be knowing, doing, being. And in the book Gapology, we have it in the action gap section is where we've put it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you'd like to kick her off.
Yeah, so as a leader, understanding, knowing, doing, being is like your best friend. So when you're rolling out a new process or need to perfect a process, as you're working towards excellence in performance, understanding where the team is on the continuum of knowing, doing, and being is critical. And we simply take that and make it a scale of 0 or 1 to 10, I guess. And it's incredibly helpful for leaders. So think of it in terms of, again, a skill that is critical to your performance, a habit that is critical to your performance, an execution level on a process that's critical to performance. You simply have the ability to rate the team on the scale of knowing, doing, and being. And that tells you as a leader what you need to do, where you need to go, where you need to focus. And it can lead to incredible performance. So it's a significant tool for leaders. How's that sound?
Yeah. No, I love that. In our book, we have multiple models, tools that we have in there that allow leaders to sort of look at their team through a specific lens. For instance, we have the habit ladder, so you can sort of look at your team through that lens and where they might fall on that in their progression from not knowing something to having a habit in something. We have a commitment ladder, which is sort of a progression for analyzing your team on how committed they are or compliant they are and so forth. And I feel like this one is different because it sort of blends a lot of the elements in Gapology together.
Yeah, and it is a ladder. So we're saying that for a given skill, habit, execution point, your team is either at knowing, at doing, or at being. And to rate them there gives you direction as a leader as to what you need to do, where you need to go. So we often do things on a scale of 1 to 10, and we do this one as well on a scale of 1 to 10. And we say that knowing is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So a low level knowing would be a 1. I'll get into the more detail in a minute. A high level knowing is a 4, but they aren't at the doing level yet. So that's the challenge. So we see doing as 5, 6, and 7. So they can actually do it now. and being is 8, 9, and 10. And the sweet spot we have found, this is sort of giving away the secret, the sweet spot is 7. So if you as a leader get your entire team to be an average of a 7 in a given habit, a given behavior, a given skill, you really perform at a pretty high level. It'd be easy to say, yeah, we're going to get to a 10 for everybody, but on average, a 7, you are rocking. So when you get the group, picture this, to a high level of doing, picture the habit ladder, which we've talked about over and over again, a key to gapology, being fully executed. That's probably a 7. That probably gets to a 7 at that point. You can go beyond that, but that's where it's at. So it's a great tool for a leader because, again, for a given initiative that may be rolling out or whatever, you can rate the team and fully understand then what you need to do to move to the next level. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that. And you had mentioned when we did the T times M equals P, that rule of 49. So I love this as
Oh,
this is
that's
sort of
true.
that rule
Seven
of
by
seven.
seven.
7 by 7. Yeah, exactly. Sort of fits together.
Yeah. Oh, that's so. And the rule that the talent times mindset equals performance ties directly into the knowing, doing, being. So yeah, you're correct. 7 by 7, 49 is a magic number for T times M equals P, and 7 is a magic number for knowing, doing, and being.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
wow.
there's one other thing too that I caught there that you were saying. This gives you the information as a leader to take action with your team. And that's really the key piece is that all of these ladders, when you're rating your team, it's really a reflection of you as the leader.
Yeah. Yeah, you're only as good as your team. As your team's performance.
Right.
So you need to own it. They're a reflection of you. So when you grab that mirror and look in it, it's all about you. So what the other thing we found as it relates to gapology is that at the being level, action gaps are closed, period. And that's what you're trying to get to with gapology. Think about that. So knowing, doing, being, the understanding of that and the execution of that gets you to action gaps closed. And wow, how fantastic is that? So, and again, it can be a skill, it can be a behavior, it can be a new process. Knowing, doing, being works for you as a leader to measure it. It's your best friend. It's a tool that will help you perform at a very high level.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the key pieces people should remember here too is that when you're rating your team with any of these ladders or whatever that we have, specifically with this, is that you can apply it sort of as an overall ranker or rater, I guess, tool for your team. But you can also do it for project specific uses as well. So someone might be at a high level doing or at the being level in one project, but in another project, they might be much lower. So sort of look at it through both those lenses as Mark goes through this.
Absolutely. Every initiative, key performance indicator would have its own separate knowing, doing, being. That is correct. Important to look at it that way. Well, let me walk the group through what those levels equal. So picture it as a 3-step ladder, at least initially. So knowing means they can speak to it. They could explain it maybe. They could describe it. If they can't do that effectively, they're at a very low level knowing, so we would just plug them in at a 1. So in order to progress on this ladder, you have to pass the knowing level, which again means you can talk about it, you can explain it, you can describe it. It doesn't mean they can do it yet. They can't effectively demonstrate it, but they can talk about it. So again, the issue is here, we've got to get them to the doing level. You as the leader own that. We have only got them to the point where they can talk about it. If they aren't at the point where they can talk about it and explain it, plug them in as a one and get to work because you, again, as the leader, own that knowledge gap that is being presented. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. As you were describing that, I had flashbacks to the habit ladder. So one of the things that leaders should remember is in training classes, you only really get to the knowing level, when you're developing somebody. Maybe a low level doing if you start to do some sort of interactive pieces, but you'll never move past that. That comes from the leader's responsibility that happens after. The trainer sort of owns maybe the beginning of that, but as a leader, it's carrying that ball forward and developing people into high level doing and into the being levels.
Yeah, the fourth level on the habit ladder is practice and feedback.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when you get to the doing level. Before that, you're still in the, getting to the knowing level. So the doing level is different. It means you can show me how to do it. You can demonstrate it. It also shows that you believe in it. You understand the what and the how and the when and the why, and you can do it. So when you get the whole team to a seven, and again we go. I'm sorry, let me back up. So on knowing, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 on a scale of 10. Doing, though, we go 5, 6, 7. So when you get the team to a high level doing, they're at a seven. And that is a big deal because when your entire team averages a high level doing, you're executing at a very high level and things are very good. You're meeting the numbers. So that's the key to the doing level, getting to that seven. And that's a high level. Many of your team will never exceed that level. They get to the high level doing and that's it. So they don't get to the 8, 9, and 10, which we'll talk about in a minute, but they get to a seven. They are valuable. They are top performers, and they are the steady group that makes it happen every day. What do you think?
yeah, yeah. And we haven't on since we launched the Gapology Guys video podcast, we haven't talked about the commitment ladder. That'll be coming up soon, so everybody buckle up for that one. That's a fantastic model that we have. But I feel like this high level doing sort of gets to that genuinely and formally compliant. The people who are really they're excellent at their jobs, they're getting this stuff done, they're delivering high results. So I think those people should be valued and celebrated.
Yeah, they make it happen every day.
Yep, yep, for
They
sure.
make it happen every day. So the top of this ladder is being, and being again, we're scoring on the 1 to 10 scale as an 8, 9, or a 10, and they are the model. They are the teacher potentially. They're the mentor potentially. Think about that as a leader. You can leverage this group to mentor the rest of the group to bring them up another level. They are the champions. They are the innovators. They really write the rule book. They often are better at it than you are as the leader. So you learn from them. They're often doing it every day and they're executing again at a level that we, just aspire to. So it's a smaller group, but leveraged effectively, they make you as a leader the top performer. Because again, if you get that whole group up to a seven, wow, things are happening. So knowing, doing, being is significant and it's a friend, best friend to, again, a leader.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I'd say here, um, think about this person as your replacement. So if you are not in the building or not working that day, this might be that person that's taking your place. It might be that person that fills in, even without your direction to do so. They might just, step in. They might be the first one to answer questions that their peers might have. maybe the first person to jump in and troubleshoot an issue. So I would embrace these people. I'd caution leaders to not be threatened by them, but really lean into their being level, their skills, their commitment, their focus. Lean into that, leverage them where you can.
That's a great point. Yeah, so your replacement is likely in the being level of the key habits and behaviors, needed in the role. So they're right there, and they're demonstrating that. And then their ability to mentor others and bring them up, that's huge. That's leadership. So that shows that they have the capability of going to the next level.
Mhm.
So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, just to be clear, there is a big difference between knowing, doing, and being. So don't kid yourselves. Knowing is one level, doing is a totally different level. They can do it now. And being is a totally different level. They set the example, they model, they mentor. So it may sound like 1 to 10, but it is simple to see, and they are different. And a high level doing is not a being level, and you'll see that it's it's very distinct.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One other thing I'd like to just sort of bring up, Mark. So in the book, we originally when we wrote it, I mean, we wrote this thing 15 years ago, the first book, and we've done three revisions
Seems
since
like a
then.
hundred years ago. It's only 15.
It's only 15. Yeah, it does feel that
Wow.
long ago. But we're actually working on another revision right now. We're just trying to add in some new things that we've discovered since the last revision and since we wrote the book. There's been a lot of changes, certainly. The whole virtual world, where everybody's working virtually and so forth, that's added a whole nother element. So we're trying to add a few things in around that. But one thing that you and I were talking about that's somewhat different is within knowing, doing, being, we sort of presented it as sort of a mindset. But now it's somewhat different. We sort of look at it through a different lens since we've been teaching it. Do you want to sort of walk everybody through that?
Yeah, I think as we revise the book for the 15th anniversary edition, which will come out later this year, hopefully, we would speak to knowing, doing, being as part of an extension of the habit ladder, and it would be rating the skill levels and the behaviors that are critical to your performance, those things that have to be executed. And so it's less about a mindset. Mindset's certainly part of it, but it's really about that skill, that behavior, that habit that the team has to repeat over and over again. And I don't know if we effectively communicated that 100 years ago when we wrote the book.
Yeah, yeah. When we did it on tablet and that kind of thing. Now it's on
Yeah,
paper.
2010. You think about the things that have changed since.
Yeah,
Well, we didn't. We finished it in 2010. We started writing it in '08,
yeah. Oh,
probably.
wait. Yeah,
And it's a lot of things have changed. So anyhow, it we see this differently. We actually view knowing, doing, being as being more significant to you as a leader. So as you buy the new anniversary edition of Gapology, make sure you pay close attention.
yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. So, do you want to walk us through a few scenarios on this?
Yeah, so we have seen scenarios where the leader is at a being level in a significant behavior, habit, skill, and we've seen that bring the whole team up. And so think about that. If you can achieve being level, it really might, propel the team to a different level. When the leader is at a knowledge level or a low level doing, it can lower the performance of the team. So just be careful, and based upon what you are measuring by knowing, doing, being, make sure you're clear on where you need to be, because it can impact the team. We've seen in a retail environment, if you just took customer service, for example, we've seen leaders that expected the team to be awesome with customers, yet they just walked by them like they didn't exist. That doesn't support knowing, doing, being, and getting to the higher level. You as a leader need to, present significant doing level at least of the service skills you would expect in that scenario. So think about it in terms of what you're measuring, but you as a leader need to look at your impact on the team because you impact the team. They watch everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I would also say define what's most critical for your organization and make sure that your leadership team, so if you lead other leaders, make sure you're getting everybody to being, because they do set that example for everybody else. In fact, I have an example where I was working in an organization years ago, and the business had nothing to do with this, but my direct supervisor was super passionate about philanthropy work. I mean, this is what really, really drove him. This was his passion. He lived at that being level. And and then the group of call center people that we were working with, that normally they were just doing their normal job, but once he took over this team, everyone all of a sudden just almost overnight became passionate about giving back to the community. It really became an infectious thing within the team. So I think it's important to sort of take a step back, look at, use your leadership rhythm to block time to define what's most important, what's creating the biggest impact in your organization, and define that and then get to that being level in that area.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So the other thing we believe is that as a leader, as you rate your team on this 1 to 10 scale, knowing, doing, being, again in a specific behavior, skill level, habit that's required, uh, those that are at 8, 9, and 10, assign them to mentor others, and you can bring the whole team to a different level. They can train. They can spend the day together and model a behavior. They can mentor, and they really can bring others, to a different level. Once you've done that, you are finding, as we mentioned earlier, the leaders of the organization potentially in the future. That's a big deal. And so again, you need to assign that. So consider that. Um, Depending on what it is, give them the assignment of mentoring specific individuals in this skill, behavior, habit that is key to the organization, and it really can move the entire group to a higher number. So again, when you get to that 7 as an average overall, performance is off the charts from what we've seen.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So how would can you sort of, and I'll try to put an image on the screen here so people can see this, but can you sort of describe how you would chart this all out?
Yeah, if you were looking at an XY axis, 1 through 10 going up, 1 through 10 going across, so vertical and horizontal, and you would come up with 100 squares. The 1 through 10 going up would be execution, the actual number, of an individual, and the 1 through 10 going across would be the knowing, doing, being as we've laid it out. You can literally plug your team in to one of those boxes, each individual, and you will know exactly where they're at. And that will lead you to what you need to do as a leader. It will show you that those that are at high level being are also exceeding, in execution and the results, the result piece. And it's a very simple, we've done this over and over again. And so it's 1 through 10, 1 through 10, everybody plugs in. Again, execution going up, knowing, doing, being going across. It tells you as a leader what you need to do. It becomes a map. So if you're rolling out a new process, this becomes an incredible tool. You quickly know what to do. And then you do it again a week later and again a week later, and you see the movement. And again, you understand what to do. So when you want to become great at something, knowing, doing, and being is an incredible tool. And this 10 by 10 simple matrix works like magic.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And one thing to remember is that this is for you as a leader. It's not something you're going to post up on the wall and that kind of thing necessarily, but this is something for you to look at and say, all right, so what can I do differently as a leader? How can I help each of these team members move up this ladder here?
Yeah, we have used it in meetings where the leaders had to come up and show us where their team was, but we wouldn't necessarily share it with the team. But it gives you great direction as a leader on how to have, you know, top performance. So it's a significant part of Gapology and closing the action gap and achieving great results.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think this was good, Mark. Any final words?
No, I think we have used this over and over again, so I can tell you it works. It's worked every time for us, and the leaders that we have given it to use it over and over again. It may sound rather simple, but most leaders are not using it, and it is powerful. The biggest challenge is to look in the mirror and say, okay, where do I need to be? Because I'm interacting with the team regularly, and do I need to have a skill level in this habit behavior, or skill that I expect my team to have, and that sometimes becomes the challenge. So,
Absolutely. Well, for more information on all this, you can go to our website, gapology.org. You can go to Amazon. Where's the book? Over on the side, I guess.
yeah, it's
Here,
right there.
this is our book.
You're touching it.
I'm touching it. Yeah, you can pick it up on Amazon.com or anywhere you order books. Otherwise, feel free to reach out. We're here to answer questions anytime. You can email us at contact@gapology.org, and we'll be happy to chat with you a bit.
And thank you for all the incredible response to Gapology. It's been overwhelming. Brian and I are very humbled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.